Okay, everyone, have you ever wondered how could you build an entire data pipeline that connects your product through to your sales team, through to your product team, through to your marketing team, through to every single operational team within your business and do it all seamlessly and automated? Well, I've done that. And spoiler alert, I probably built close to 50 to 100 different micro to macro automations, combination of agents, combination of using tools like Trigify, Clay, NA10, Segment, PostHog, Attio, to name just a few. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this down. I'm going to start today with a very high level about, what am I doing here? How does this flow work? How am I monitoring clients for signals? How am I taking data from my product, from Postgres, from Supabase, through to my CRM? How am I doing all of this? And then over the next 5 to maybe 10 episodes, I'm going to go deeper into every single individual part of this entire web and then break down how I'm actually using these automations, how I set them up, and how I think about it. So if you like what you're seeing, like, subscribe, do whatever you need to do, stick around, because over the next few weeks, I'm going to be dropping these videos and I think they will hopefully be gold dust for you. So let's dive into this kind of data pipeline flow that we have going on here and explain how I'm doing everything. So this is, I will preface, this is at point of sign up. I've got a load of other stuff here. I've done videos on this in the past. I'm not going to go into that. So this is at the point of where a user signs up. What we have is as they come in via Clerk. Clerk is basically syncing and speaking to two different systems, essentially. One, it's speaking to this Clay table, where I'm basically pulling through Trigify users and running a bunch of enrichment that's going to do a lot of different things. And it's also speaking to Postgres, which is hooked up to Segment. So Segment's a tool that allows you to do data pipelines. Segment is essentially syncing all of my data to Attio. So any new users that come in, it syncs across to Attio, which is awesome. At the same time, we're also syncing some data from the Clay table that I have. So this would be like, who are they, their demographics, their LinkedIn URLs, like everything, right? Because they only give me their first name, last name, and email. And I take that and I go get a whole ton of information. From there, what we're doing is we're going to start to route these individuals depending on their plan. So the nice thing, because we have Segment hooked up to Postgres, when their plans change, i.e. if they go from a free trial to a paid, or they go to a freemium or whatever it is, that's going to signal to Attio to update the lifecycle. And from there, it's then going to update inside of the Clay table, because I'm constantly looking at the life cycle stage within the Clay table as well. So here's what happens. When they're on a trial of some sort, they're coming through here. We've got the Clay table. It's basically going to check Attio to see what stage they're at. It's going to update Attio with any enrichment plus plan details. So this would be, company size, URL, things like I just mentioned previously. Then what we have is we have an internal automation running inside of Attio, which is updating a particular field I have in there called a lifecycle stage. So this is like, are they a trial? Are they ex-trial? Are they customer? Are they just a lead? Whatever it is. And it does the same for a company level. Then what we're doing is we've hooked up Trigify into this Clay table, which is then also updating our PostHog to see if they have engaged with us on social media or not, which is also updating our Attio. So now we have loads of information. We have who they are, whether they've engaged with us on LinkedIn or Twitter or YouTube or Reddit or whatever it is before. We know we have the correct life cycle stage of where they are. And then we are also checking to see whether they're ICP or not. If they're ICP, this triggers an NA10 workflow that basically sends them a Gmail inviting them to an onboarding call. And we also get a Slack notification saying, hey, a new user's signed up. What's happening here is we also create a secondary table within Clay. So we have a master table, which is called the Trigify users. Then we have the active trial table. Here in the active trial table, we're getting their Stripe information. We're getting their Beehive information. And if they haven't signed up to our Beehive, then we're automatically adding them to our newsletter, because that's one of the TOSs when you sign up with us, is you get automatically added unless you don't wish to. So we add them automatically to the Beehive. And then what we're doing inside of this particular trial is we've created a new table as well called the Beehive table inside of Clay, which then checks to see the life stage of the individual from Attio and updates their custom field within Beehive so that we have 4 different types of newsletters within the same newsletter, if that makes sense. So we have a newsletter for clients, we have a newsletter for ex-clients, we have a newsletter for people who are actively on trial, and we can segment the type of content going forward as a result. And that's what's happening in our active trial table. So bear with me. What we've done so far is we've taken segment, and we're syncing every single day the plan information to Attio. What's also happening is we have a master Clay table with all of our Trigify users, where it then sprouts a new one called the active trial table. And it also then sends all of this information through to the particular field that's been created from segment into Attio, with all this other information around engagement, ICP, all of that stuff as well. So what happens if they don't convert on their 14-day trial? Well, this triggers a new NA10 automation, which is going to fire a custom event into Loops, which is our marketing automation email system that we use. It updates Attio from free trial. It basically says the free trial field that I have is false, and the life cycle goes to X trial, and it updates the person and company records appropriately. It also then is on a constant lookout. We have an internal Attio automation running here that's seeing if they have attempted to log back in. How are we tracking that? Well, we have post-hog syncing to Attio as well, which tells us anytime someone logs in. So if a user is on a freemium account and attempts to log in, we get a notification. The notification goes from post-hog to Attio to Slack. It automatically triggers us to find the mobile number as well and adds that mobile number into the field inside of post-hog. So then we can just get on the phone and call them and say, hey, saw you tried to log in, etc., which is pretty cool. If they convert it into a client, we are going to create, again, a new table inside of Clay. And this is the closed one, active clients table. And here we're monitoring them. And we're doing a few different things. We're monitoring them for kind of custom signals. We're understanding if these people ever change roles. We're understanding if they have engaged with X content or X people, and we're doing that via Trigify. So this is like, okay, are they engaging with competitors of ours? That's a potential churn signal. Are they engaging with content that would suggest that there is an upsell opportunity? Are they engaging with content that would suggest there's a cross-sell opportunity? And so on and so on. And we're also monitoring to see if they're posting about anything that's topically relevant to Trigify, so that we can get involved, comment, and whatnot. And it's also a potential signal for us, depending on the type of post. All of these signals feed through to a notification to the sales teams and updates Attio appropriately. Then what we have is, as you come on board, it triggers this onboarding flow. This onboarding flow is controlled from NA10, which triggers our loops automation that we have, where it'll be day 1, day 3, day 6, day 10, you get an email as well. Not only that, we have an NA10 automation flow running in the background, which is querying the post-hog data, which is our product analytics, to understand how active is someone, what features are they using, and this then in turn updates Attio, and so on and so on. And if anything enters into a threshold of we deem a churn risk, the team gets instantly notified as well. Not only that, we then are updating the client based on month 1, month 2, 3, 3, 6, so on. And we're basically sending custom content depending on the life cycle and stage that they're in. Now, if they churn and they go to closed lost, first of all, this triggers a NA10 flow monitoring cancellation, which picks this up. What then happens with this agent is it triggers based on the stripe change. It looks up their data within PostHog to understand what's happened over the last, the course of their entire journey with us. We have a churn agent that's analyzing this data. This data is then sent to Slack. We add this to a Clay table. And the reason we add this to the Clay table is we run some further enrichment that we deem necessary, and then we update Attio. A common question that I might get asked is, why do you use NA10 in Clay? Well, I use NA10 to do a lot of infrastructure and organizational flows, and if the automation is more complex and requires better agent capabilities, I use Clay primarily purely just for data enrichment to do things there. So that's kind of when I discern the difference between the two. After that, we then the customer success team get notified by the agent that this person has churned along with all this information. We update the Beehive field. We update the custom cancellation reasons inside of Attio. And then we're doing the same thing. We're monitoring this close loss PLG signal, which is, are they attempting to log in ever since they've churned? If they do, we reach out off the back end of that. And that so far is everything that we have. Now I'm actually continuously adding to this, would you believe it or not? But what I'm going to do, like I said, this is high level what's going on. I'm breaking down every single section, every single agent, every single automation that I have over the course of multiple videos coming over the next month or so. So stay tuned. This is going to get really interesting and really exciting as I show what I'm doing. I've been building it solidly for the last couple of weeks, getting this all in place. And there are so much nuances from the amount of Attio workflows that we have, from the amount of N8N workflows, from the amount of clay tables that we have, how we've created this data orchestration with the data pipeline. It's going to get technical. It's going to get good. It's going to get really interesting. So if you're a founder, if you're RevOps, if you're ops, if you're marketing, if whatever you are, GTM focused, this one is for you.